When we talk about self-discovery, we're really talking about peeling back the layers of who we are, not who we've been told to be, not who we've adapted to be for others, but who we are at our core. And solitude is the fertile ground where that discovery takes root. When we are alone, there are no expectations to perform, no roles to play, no masks to wear. It's just us with all our thoughts, our questions, and our truths. In the quiet, we start to notice things we've ignored or overlooked. What truly excites us, what drains us, what do we want for ourselves when no one else is watching or influencing our choices? These answers don't come easily when we're caught up in the noise of daily life, when we're constantly reacting to other people's needs, demands, or opinions. Think about it. How often do we ask ourselves what we truly want rather than what's expected? Solitude forces us to confront that question. It creates a space for reflection, a space where we can revisit our values, our passions, and even our fears without judgment. Sometimes this process isn't comfortable. Sitting alone with ourselves can bring up feelings we'd rather avoid, doubts, insecurities, regrets. But it's in facing these feelings that we grow. Self-discovery is not just about finding the good parts of ourselves, it's about making peace with the messy, imperfect parts too. It's about understanding what makes us tick, what wounds we need to heal, and what strengths we've been underestimating. Solitude also helps us recognize how much of our identity has been shaped by external influences. It's easy to fall into the habit of defining ourselves through our relationships, careers, or societal expectations. But when we're alone, we have the chance to strip all of that away and ask, who am I without the labels, without the roles, without the roles, without the noise? And as we spend more time alone, we begin to see patterns in our thoughts and behaviors. We start to understand why we react the way we do in certain situations, why certain things trigger us, and why some experiences bring us immense joy while others leave us feeling hollow. This awareness is transformative because it allows us to make more intentional choices moving forward. Resilience is the quiet strength that keeps us standing when life throws its hardest punches. It's the ability to bend without breaking, to stumble but still rise. Solitude plays a powerful role in fostering this inner resilience, though we rarely acknowledge it. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek validation and support from others, being alone teaches us to trust in ourselves, to become our own anchor in the storm. When you spend time alone, you begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to the approval of others. It's easy to rely on the encouragement, advice, or comfort of friends and family when we face challenges, but solitude challenges us to look inward. It asks, what can you do for yourself? How can you handle this moment without leaning on someone else? And while that question might feel intimidating, it's also empowering. Solitude gives us the space to wrestle with life's uncertainties and find our own solutions. Without the distractions of external voices, we can process events more deeply and develop clarity about how to move forward. This process isn't always easy. Sometimes being alone with our thoughts means facing fears we've long ignored or admitting truths we've avoided. But in doing so, we build an unshakable strength, a strength that isn't dependent on circumstances or the presence of others. There's also something profoundly stabilizing about learning to enjoy your own company. When you realize that you can spend time alone without feeling lonely or restless, you gain a sense of independence that is both grounding and liberating. This independence doesn't mean you don't value others, it simply means you don't fear being without them. You learn that even in moments of isolation, you are enough. Solitude also helps us practice patience and adaptability, two key components of resilience. Life rarely goes according to plan, and in moments of chaos, we often seek external solutions to fix or distract us. But when you've spent time alone, you learn to sit with discomfort. You realize that not every problem has an immediate solution, and that sometimes the best thing you can do is breathe, reflect, and trust that you have what it takes to endure. In solitude, we also discover how resourceful we can be. Whether it's figuring out how to manage a crisis or simply navigating a quiet afternoon by yourself, every small act of self-reliance builds confidence. Over time, this confidence accumulates, forming the bedrock of resilience. The more you prove to yourself that you can handle life's challenges, the less you fear them. Creativity flourishes in the space that solitude provides. In a world filled with constant notifications, meetings, and conversations, our minds are rarely given the chance to wander freely. Yet, it is in those quiet, uninterrupted moments of solitude that creativity comes alive. When we are alone, we are no longer reacting to the external world, we are engaging with our inner world. Think of solitude as a blank canvas. Without the clutter of distractions, our thoughts have room to stretch, to take shape, and to connect in unexpected ways. This mental stillness creates the ideal conditions for innovation and problem solving. Whether you're a writer searching for the perfect sentence, an entrepreneur brainstorming a business idea, or simply someone looking for a fresh perspective, solitude becomes the space where ideas are born. When we're surrounded by others, we often conform to group dynamics consciously or unconsciously. We filter our thoughts, adjust our opinions, and tailor our creativity to align with external expectations. But in solitude, there is no audience, no critique, no pressure to perform. This freedom allows us to experiment, to imagine without limits, and to entertain possibilities that might seem impractical or even ridiculous in the presence of others. Science supports this too. Studies have shown that the brain operates differently when we're alone. It shifts into what researchers call the default mode network, a state associated with daydreaming, introspection, and creativity. In this mode, our minds are free to make connections between seemingly unrelated concepts, leading to insights and innovations that might not emerge in more structured social settings. Solitude also invites us to engage deeply with our creative pursuits. Whether it's painting, writing, composing music, or crafting something with our hands, being alone removes the distractions that fragment our focus. In this state of flow, where time seems to disappear, we can immerse ourselves fully in the creative process. This immersion doesn't just result in better work, it also enhances our connection to the act of creation itself. And then there's the role of reflection. Creativity isn't just about generating new ideas, it's also about refining them. When we're alone, we have the opportunity to revisit and reconsider our ideas without the pressure of external input. This reflective process often reveals nuances and details that we might have missed in a more hurried or collaborative environment. Moreover, solitude encourages curiosity. Without the influence of others steering our attention, we're more likely to follow our own interests and explore topics that genuinely intrigue us. This sense of curiosity is the foundation of creativity, sparking questions and possibilities that lead to deeper exploration. Emotional clarity is one of the most profound gifts of solitude. In the midst of our busy lives, it's easy to get swept away by a whirlwind of emotions, joy, frustration, anxiety, excitement, without ever pausing to fully understand what we're feeling, or why. Solitude provides the stillness we need to step back from the chaos and connect with our emotions on a deeper level. When we're alone, we're no longer influenced by the emotions of others. Social settings can be emotionally charged, with the moods and energy of those around us shaping our own reactions. While these interactions are an important part of life, they can blur the line between what we truly feel and what we're merely absorbing from others. In solitude, we separate from this emotional noise, allowing our own feelings to rise to the surface. Sitting with our emotions rather than distracting ourselves or seeking immediate relief from discomfort is a skill that develops over time. At first, it might feel unsettling. Emotions we've buried or ignored often resurface, demanding our attention. But solitude creates a safe space for this process, free from judgment or interruption. In this space, we can explore these feelings, name them, and understand their origins. This process of emotional excavation often reveals patterns we might not notice in the hustle of daily life. Why do certain situations trigger us? What underlying fears or insecurities are fueling our reactions? Conversely, what brings us true joy and peace? Solitude allows us to unpack these questions thoughtfully, leading to insights that help us navigate our emotions with greater awareness and intention. Solitude also helps us distinguish between fleeting emotions and deeper truths. Sometimes our initial reaction to a situation is clouded by stress, exhaustion, or external pressures. When we take the time to sit alone with our feelings, we gain clarity about what's temporary and what's lasting. This clarity empowers us to respond to life's challenges from a place of understanding rather than impulse. Another benefit of solitude is its ability to foster emotional regulation. Being alone gives us the opportunity to practice self-soothing, to sit with discomfort without immediately seeking external validation or distraction. This builds emotional resilience, teaching us that we can weather even the most intense feelings without losing our sense of self. Reflection is also a key part of emotional clarity. In solitude, we can replay past interactions or experiences, considering them from different angles. This reflective process often reveals nuances we missed in the moment, details that help us make sense of our emotions and the events that triggered them. It's a chance to process, to forgive, to learn, and to grow. Solitude also reconnects us with our emotional priorities. In the quiet, we can ask ourselves important questions: what truly matters to us? Are our actions and decisions aligned with our values? These moments of introspection help us recalibrate, ensuring that our emotions guide us toward choices that feel authentic and meaningful. It might seem counterintuitive, but spending time alone can profoundly enhance our relationships with others. At first glance, solitude and connection may appear to be opposites, yet they are deeply intertwined. When we take time to be with ourselves, we cultivate self-awareness, emotional stability, and authenticity, all of which lay the foundation for more meaningful and fulfilling connections. One of the most significant ways solitude deepens relationships is by helping us understand our own needs, boundaries, and desires. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it's easy to fall into patterns of pleasing, performing, or compromising to maintain harmony. While compromise is necessary in healthy relationships, losing sight of our own individuality can lead to resentment or a sense of emptiness. Solitude allows us to step back and ask, what do I truly want from this relationship? What am I willing to give? And where do I need to draw the line? This clarity helps us engage with others from a place of strength and honesty. When we take time to be alone, we also learn to become more self-reliant. This doesn't mean we stop leaning on others for support, but it does mean we stop expecting them to fix us or fill emotional voids that we must address ourselves. Solitude teaches us to manage our own emotions, to process our own struggles, and to celebrate our own victories. This independence allows us to approach relationships as whole individuals, ready to share rather than demand. Another way solitude enhances our relationships is by giving us the chance to reflect on them. In the busyness of life, it's easy to take relationships for granted or let small conflicts go unresolved. Time alone allows us to think critically about our interactions, to consider how we've been showing up for the people we care about, and to recognize areas where we might need to grow. It's in these quiet moments of reflection that we gain the insight needed to improve how we relate to others. Solitude also makes us more present in our relationships. When we don't take time to recharge on our own, we often bring stress, fatigue, or irritability into our interactions with others. By prioritizing solitude, we give ourselves the chance to reset, ensuring that when we do spend time with loved ones, we can give them our full attention and energy. This presence fosters deeper connections as it signals to the other person that they are valued and truly seen. Moreover, solitude encourages us to appreciate the people in our lives. Absence really does make the heart grow fonder, and time apart from loved ones can remind us of their importance. Whether it's a partner, a friend, or a family member, solitude gives us the space to reflect on what we cherish about them and why their presence matters to us. This renewed appreciation often translates into more intentional acts of love and care. Lastly, solitude helps us navigate conflict more effectively. When tensions arise in a relationship, our immediate reactions can often be fueled by emotion rather than reason. Time alone allows us to cool down, process our feelings, and approach the situation with greater understanding and empathy. By stepping away to reflect, we gain perspective, which helps us communicate more thoughtfully and work toward resolution.